Hélène de Montgeroult, pianist, composer and teacher, lived in Paris in the late 18th and early 19th century. She was a contemporary of Beethoven, Rossini and Schubert, and her life spanned the French Revolution, from the early violent riots to the storming of the Bastille, from bloody murders to the rise of Napoleon. Music in France at this time had a vital utilitarian role. It took the form of revolutionary songs in vast patriotic outdoor festivals, and it was a battle cry in the shape of military marches, the most famous being La Marseillaise, which became the French national anthem in 1795. As peace returned to France in the final years of the 1790s, music making found its way back into homes and small gatherings. Amateur pianists eagerly snapped up the simple, pleasing music composed for them, and keyboard virtuosi such as Jean-Louis Adam thrilled audiences with dazzling feats of dexterity. But Hélène de Montgeroult had very different ideas about the piano and the way it should be played.
In her own time, she was very, very highly regarded as a pianist, as a composer, and as a teacher. And I think she had her own vision of what the piano could do. And she collaborated with the piano manufacturer Erard in making this really very complicated instrument, which had many, many pedals. And she was just trying to experiment or trying to bring out the possibilities of this fledgling instrument. But she was absolutely convinced that it should have the expressive singing quality of other instruments.
And it struck me just how vocal-like those melodies are. They last a breath.
There's a fantastic etude, which is basically an etude in playing a melody in the left hand while the right hand plays fast accompaniment figurations. And the first page of this study, it sets out, it goes through the keys. You could almost complete the study yourself based on traditional harmonic patterns in studies. But she can't help herself, and she takes a turn, and it takes a magical, just a moment of magic, and the piece becomes something else.
What makes the story of Hélène de Montgeroult even more fascinating is that this music, her bold, imaginative experiments in making the piano sing, are not found in sonatas, fantasia, or concerti, but in teaching material. They are hidden deep in a book of studies, or études, which she wrote between 1788 and 1812. And despite being highly regarded by her peers at the Paris Conservatoire, it's a book that until recently has been totally forgotten. So we're talking about one volume of studies here, or two or three. What does it actually physically look like? Was this a big book?
It's a big book. It's got lots of exercises. It's got lots of technical explanations about piano playing, piano technique. And at the end of the book, there's a collection of 114 studies, some of which are simple technical exercises, but many of which are fantastically inventive and sophisticated character pieces.
What makes Hélène de Montgeroult different from her contemporaries?
The études are special, I think, because they anticipate later developments in romantic piano music. Actually, I mean, many of these studies they lay out. They represent the invention in many respects of what the piano does in romantic music in the 19th century. A lot of the figurations and gestures that became associated with later, more famous composers originate in this volume.
Let's talk about the études themselves. Just listening to you play them this afternoon, I was absolutely swept away with the miniature worlds that she creates.
She writes a superb technical étude. She focuses on an aspect of piano technique, and she writes an étude to address that and work on that. But then she writes a piece that's just so much better than it needs to be to do that. Not only are they fantastic character pieces, but they never ever stop being fantastic studies. So they do get to the heart of the matter straight away, both musically and technically. They don't outstay their welcome. They're completely beautifully proportioned as concert miniatures. I think she had a view of the piano as being as expressive an instrument as any other, or the human voice or the violin. We're limited on the piano by the fact that the sound decays. As soon as you strike the note, the sound decays. So the best we can do is give the illusion of legato. And it's Hélène de Montgeroult's mission is to make the piano sing. She's always striving to give an impression of legato on an instrument which is fundamentally incapable of legato.
So she's quite an illusionist, really.
Absolutely.
It's all tricks.
She's trying every trick in the book to try and get the as she says in the preface of her method, de faire chanter le piano, to make the piano sing.